Hello, I'm Gecko, and today I'm collaborating with Paradox Interactive to bring you a new episode of Creator Spotlight. On the workshop, I have around 170 workshop items, which in terms of individual assets scales up to a bit more because I often make packs with several different ones. A lot of what I focus on is smaller town or village architecture because I like the quaint atmosphere and the picturesque feel of it rather than larger cities. There are many differences between Belgian and French architecture, and even in between each country there can be a lot of different styles. I tend to focus more on the region where I live as far as Belgium goes. Some styles I really like about France are mostly located in the western part, in Brittany particularly. I also love the Loire region where they have really beautiful castles and the houses are quite nice too. And then I've been focusing a lot on the region more to the east, around Troyes, where there are tons of gorgeous half-timbered buildings. When I'm looking for new assets, I think first of the regions I've visited and those I liked, and then I will make a quick search on the internet for some screenshots or reference pictures. From there, it will depend on the dimensions. Sometimes an asset will be the perfect width to fill a cell in the game, which is 8 meters, but more often than not, it's not the case and I adapt it. It's really just a case of, does that building speak to me visually, and do I think it will fill an interesting place in my city? One of my favorite assets I made is quite a recent one. It's the Couvent des Récollets from my hometown in Nivelles, Belgium. It's been going for such a long time. It's really the largest project I've undertook. I put it off for quite some time, but I finally took the time to finish it, and it was really worth it because it's one of my favorite landmarks in my hometown, and I had the chance to take pictures myself, which was really an interesting part in the process of really creating the assets from start to finish. I think what made that church really hard to finish was not so much because of the complexity of it, although it's quite complex, but it's more of a psychological fear that I need to fit everything, all the different elements into one texture. It takes a lot of fiddling with. Although in the end it's not that complex, I really had a lot of trouble just getting into the thick of it, but finally I made it and it was really worth it. The cloister and monastery part around it look really nice. I made them a bit nicer than they look in real life because the building is kind of falling apart right now. I think it's really awesome that I would be able to make such a landmark for the game that I see almost every day. Another one of my popular assets are the cobblestone roads from Paris. I made them more to fit a 1900 turn of the century style. Those assets are fairly different from what I do because I tend to focus on the current period. It was kind of a real dive in time when we still have cobblestone roads nowadays, but they are a bit different from how they used to be, so it was quite nice to dive into that. Other assets I really love are some of the houses from Brittany with their typical granite stone textures. One of them is one from Gecko, which I completely made the textures from scratch, which makes it a bit different looking from the others, but I was able to really fine-tune every aspect of it, and so I like it. And also the houses from Troyes in general, I'm really happy with how they look. Those houses might not be the most impressive assets out there, but together I think they really create an atmosphere that really sells it all together, even though it's small houses on their own. For making a typical asset, which for me would be a simple house, I would say if I work on it consistently, it would take over a week. Depending on the complexity, I can create it in a couple of days if I'm really focused on it and it's not too complex. But more often than not, I'll really take my time and switch in between projects, so I always like to make multiple things at once, and so it's a bit difficult to track. But I would say for a house, a couple of days. I get a lot of requests from a lot of different places, and unfortunately I'm not quite able to fulfill all of them, or really not many at all. I really prefer to create things that I really like, because otherwise it would turn more into a chore, which would make it more difficult for me to make. I prefer not to keep people's expectations too high, so to say, and really just focus on the stuff I love doing, which in the end is why I started asset creation. It was to really have the universe I want in City Skylines, which is awesome thing the game offers, to really model the world like you want. Unfortunately, I don't play as much as I'd like to, because each time I fall into the trap of thinking, with this one more asset I will finally have everything I need to start playing, but then there's something else that comes up and that I really want. I love to play the game, but I really don't play nearly as much. I think I should find a discipline to just jump in and accept that not every single thing is in there, and that's just how it is, and it will come with time, and just have fun actually playing the game sometime. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Gecko. You can find my creations on the Steam Workshop. Don't forget to subscribe if you like the content of this video for more similar ones, and goodbye!